Yo,
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Cool. Looks like I'm getting your sound. How you doing this morning?
not bad, man, not bad. How about yourself?
Good. Yeah, I was happy to wake up and not be trading during my workout this morning. So that was
A
nice.
break for once.
Yeah, I could actually take a little bit of time to do what I'm supposed to be doing in the morning, and taking that first hour of the day to the self,
Yeah,
mind,
and
body, and
I mean,
soul, and all that.
yeah, and I mean to be honest, we're quite a ways away from any immediate trade as well at the moment. So who knows? Could just be a day of holding runners.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, yesterday was a day of holding runners, but it was still quite a wild one. one of one of the
Yeah,
more exciting days of holding a runner. One of those where you look away for a second and then you look back and suddenly we're in a different century.
yeah. No, I always say it. I know Adam always says like good trading is just it's boring, right? It should just every day ends up being the same. But I think once in a while you have days like that that add a little bit of excitement because it's just like out of the norm.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. If anyone's in the stream, maybe you can just confirm you guys are getting sound. Obviously, you've had these troubles in the past. It looks like it's coming through on my end, but can't do I can't broadcast and watch the stream at the same time, so that'd be great. All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get into it this morning. You can kind of see, where we are. We're back above the prior day's range, getting into the upper third of the 5 day range, and obviously above the overnight range. So by the dip continues, yeah, sometimes it can be difficult to kind of keep faith in that by the dip is continuing after we drop a couple of 100 points, but proven yet again. That won't end for until we're significantly lower. So the recent narrative, obviously, we lost the bull flag with the gap down on the tariff and the geopolitics news. But we worked on recovering that yesterday. That's kind of right down at 69.10, and then we pushed back up into that convincingly yesterday afternoon, and now um, we're working in this gap fill range. So the top of the gap is back at 69.77. So we may see that today, but probably going to be important on just what comes across the wire, really. But hopefully everyone was in runners. That obviously the main trade yesterday was 68.22. There was also a trade around the 68.50 level. I think Adam tweeted out about that. I can't remember exactly, but I'm on the 30-minute here. You can't quite see the structure, but there was a little bit of a shelf kind of right off the open that formed around the 68.50 mark. And we did sweep that and recover and then push on higher. And then I don't know if anyone traded this one, but the micro flush of 69.40, Adam's kind of calling that out in his tweets this morning, as that was one that actually triggered. So obviously we got the major active fail breakdown and a couple intermediate ones. So from his tweets today, the first level to watch, 69.35, he's mentioned, wasn't really something I had on my radar. It wasn't in the newsletter yesterday, of course, and I was wondering where that came from. There's really the bottom of the gap here from the Sunday Open, and then kind of reconfirmed that yesterday in the overnight. So he is saying to watch for traps on that level. I'm not sure I'll engage it because I'm kind of in lazy runner mode. But he's one of the viewers is saying it came from the newsletter. So, but anyway, tweeted that out as to watch for traps. So certainly a valid trade there. Any thoughts on engaging that from your standpoint?
Um, right now, kind of sitting on this nice runner, so it is a valid spot. Um, I can add it in the watch list for those that are potentially interested. I'm not too sure I will engage in that. I mean, it's way up, past really any of the newsletter stuff,
Hmm.
obviously, for one. Secondly, it's, still not immensely off the highs, right? If we do kind of start selling, it's just only 20 points off the highs. So I will probably just sit in a runner myself on it. But it is a valid opportunity if folks wanna engage. I'm just, I
So let's say you're
there's
not
a
in a
sense
runner.
of,
Are you interested in
yeah.
that level?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're not a runner for sure, right? It's a valid area. Um, but one thing I've noticed that from Adam, is if you notice anytime we have these, big rallies one way up, he starts being a little bit more cautious, right? He kind of always says like almost treat it like the project has kind of been finished and now we're kind of waiting for the next kind of elevator sell down or a lot of kind of sideways basing. So because of that reason, I end up kind of just holding off a little bit and being a bit more cautious. And like you said, I think we get a little bit into that lazy runner syndrome.
Hmm.
But again, if you're not in something, it is definitely a valid shot.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. The project is finished. Would you consider kind of the project from when we last tagged the top of the bull flag and then gapped down and broke beneath it, all of this being the accumulation phase, and now we've put in that monster fail breakdown and on to the next round, really.
Yeah, exactly. And the project essentially, it restarts when either we get another big elevator sell down or quite a bit of sideways consolidation.
Hmm. Yeah, so let's see. So as far as runners go, for me, mine is down. I'm kind of interested in the oh 04 and the 13 level. Again, Adams highlighted 13. So I've put mine a little bit under oh 04 for now. I'm down about 95, I think. So what I'd be looking for there is maybe a sweep of the oh 04. So kind of two options really. Either we crash through 13, sweep oh 04, hold the 90s, and then recover oh 04 for the long. Or if we aren't able to break oh 04, maybe it's just a failed breakdown of the 13 level. He did note 13 was first down, don't engage. That's kind of a quote from him from the newsletter. I think now that's changed a little now that we're 40 plus points above it. So that 13 level is a higher quality than when it was when he wrote the newsletter, I would say. But let's see. If we do get a retracement, it could be substantial. So just take each level, take it level by level, and react to the setups. For me today, probably going to spend a bit more time doing some back testing. So I would highly recommend, rather than trying to find a low quality setup up here, because there really aren't any, dedicate that time to improving in some other ways if you can. So for me, I'm going to go and replay and back test some type 2 acceptance specifically, because it's an area that I struggle with. I may record that and post it, but we'll see.
Yeah, and that's a great idea. I mean, I think we've said this in the past, but you don't always need to get the reps in through live action, actually trading your own money, right? You can always also there's another way to get kind of the reps in, and that's just through back testing or studying. So yeah, I tend to agree with you on sessions like today. I don't know, I'd rather just hold my runner and wait for something a bit higher quality rather than kind of looking for potential scraps after a big rally like this. So I'll probably be on the same page as you here today.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, my plan is to try and go through 5 trades, so that's kind of a week of extra trading under my belt. We're trying to be what's that? famous Bruce Lee quote, fear the man who's practiced the one punch 10,000 times. Trying to get to my 10,000 reps, it's going to take a while, but I can accelerate it a little bit doing that. So,
Yeah, I mean, 10,000 failed breakdowns. If everyone can, I've said this for the longest time, but I genuinely believe it with all my heart. If you can get up to putting in 10,000 reps of a failed breakdown, so you're basically engaging in 10,000 failed breakdowns, I refuse to believe you will still be bad. I refuse to believe it. There's no way. Someone prove me wrong. Someone get up to doing 10,000 failed breakdowns and still show me you're terrible at this. I
yeah,
refuse to believe it's possible.
that's still like 10 years of doing it though, with back testing every day, like 5 reps.
Exactly. That's what I mean. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I am. I'm probably in the 400 or 500 range, I would think.
I mean,
Um,
if you really just think about it on a yearly basis, like just last year, just alone, probably live, right? If you take your average day of getting anywhere between 1 to 3 a day on average,
mhm,
times the 250 trading days last year, like you're anywhere potentially hitting like on average maybe 500, 600 just off of like just last year, and that's just doing live. So if everyone went through a full year, you're potentially doing 500 to 650 failed breakdowns a year just live, and that's not including anything you're doing with just practice reps.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it is quite a bit, and that's why I think on a year to year basis, you really can hopefully see yourself improve, because the more and more reps you start putting in, you will kind of notice you get better at certain things. And I think one thing for me I'm trying to improve on this year, another I think we talked about this, Tim, is like some of the minor execution stuff, right? I'm just trying to get a little bit better with dialing in, and that can be as little as just like getting a better feel on the entries, getting in sometimes better exits. Like yesterday was a good example of like Adam, I see his first take profits at 38, and I'm out here taking at 28, and I'm just like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's a big, big execution error. Or the second profit take, I think yesterday, I took at like 33, 34, and he took at 45, 47, and I'm like, should I have just, because of how much momentum was coming through, was that a day where I should have just waited a little bit and tried to etch out a bit more, versus being so diligent with a second profit take? Like I think there's nuances to that with execution that like is kind of a big focus on for me personally
Mhm.
this year. So I'm kind of trying to work through those. Same thing with like the runner managements, right? Understanding like, there's times where he likes to just hold the runner and kind of wait it out. There's times where he likes to be a little bit aggressive with being able to, get rid of it and cut down to a 10%. So, things like that I'm trying to just work on.
Yeah, and those add up. They make a difference for sure, especially with this low um, risk reward strategy. If you can extend that an extra level, but that definitely caught my eye from the newsletter because yeah, I was the same. I mean, I had a poor entry. I touched on it briefly in the recap, holding through drawdown, and then my first take profit was 33, I think, and then second like 38. And he was like, yeah, he went to 38 on his first. I guess that's because he does the like the manual. He manually exits, right? I tend to have mine with limit orders, and maybe by the time it happened real quick. So by the time it got to that first level, it also ran through to the second and third levels. So if you were manually exiting, you could, you almost couldn't get out at the first level. It just popped real quick. I don't know. But yeah, he's able to read it in real time and maximize each. But that all adds up big time. Like, yeah, a point worse on entry. Man, that can get you in a world of trouble if you don't want to take the first level and suddenly you're green to red. Yeah, those compound. So all sorts of areas to sharpen up on. Okay, with that, before I start rambling too much, I'm going to call it here. We're a couple of minutes before the open, so we'll catch you guys in the Discord. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.